Halloween season is here. Spooky time on Forest Tales channel. Before it is too late. Teddy woke up very early and prepared breakfast for Melissa and the kids, so she won't have to worry about it. Jason, his oldest, has diabetes, so all the meals are prepared by one of the parents to be sure he is safe, and the glucose levels are controlled. Cynthia was the middle kid, chatty but always grumpy. She was on FaceTime with her friends almost her whole time awake, and they would speak in code so their parents wouldn't get what they were saying. And Teresa is the youngest. She was very attached to Teddy and even has a teddy bear named Teddy, what sometimes made Melissa jealous. But that's life. She was still 5 years old and Daddy's little princess, who made his heart warm and his eyes shiny. While the kids were eating, he prepared some ham and cheese sandwiches for them to have at lunch, apple juice and a peach. Melissa had psychiatrist that morning as every Wednesdays, so Teddy was taking the kids to school a little bit early that day, to let her comfortable for her appointment. She was fighting depression, and he was trying to be as supportive as he could be. Teddy stopped in front of the entrance of their school as usual so the kids could come out, and he waved to Miss Elliott, Teresa's teacher. She asked him if everything was okay and if he needed something, and Teddy laughed, telling her not to worry because he was only saying hi. He left school and went to work at a radio station. Teddy works backstage and he really appreciated his job, had a good relationship with his colleagues, and could be home soon to take care of dinner and the kids' homework. After putting the kids on bed, Teddy tried to spend some quality time with Melissa to help their relationship to be better and her to feel less unhappy. And whenever she wasn't in the mood, Teddy just calls his mom to check if she needs anything from him. His mother usually complains a lot because Teddy is always busy, working, taking care of the children and cleaning the house, so even on the weekends Teddy has tasks. Teddy had some arguments with his mother defending Melissa and claiming he was only being a good man, taking care of his own family and house. But she was stubborn, so they weren't even speaking to each other lately, what actually made him feel more peaceful. Very often, he would use this little free time to shut down his brain and relax, watch some TV, or, if everyone was sleeping, search for some +18 content online. Or just rest, indeed. Teddy was a simple man, with simple wishes. He wanted Melissa to get better, so they could have a balanced life again and he would have his beloved wife back. To be honest, Teddy considered leaving her before, because of her situation, and he spent a whole week out. He was unhappy in his marriage because Melissa only spoke to him to complain or to fight. He was missing some company, but he would never have the courage to do it. Unless he could, technically. So, he walked away for a week, and that week, she had a car accident. Teddy felt so guilty not to be there and drive for her, knowing how strong her pills are, that his regret prevented him from making this mistake ever again. After that, he never even considered giving up on Melissa again. She hit the car on a tree on her way back home, and due to her condition and the witnesses, the police suggested that Melissa could have done it on purpose. He never believed that and defended his wife, but deep down he was afraid they were right. That encourages him to fight for her. Once Melissa was better, there was no way he was going to lose her. So, he kept going, being supportive and doing his best for everyone. Sometimes, he would also feel guilty about not helping her before her illness. He wasn't a bad husband, but she was responsible for everything he was now doing, and he recognizes it as a hard routine to keep. Maybe if he was more dedicated before, she wouldn't get sick. The kids were locked in their rooms most of their free time, so Teddy was still feeling very lonely. That is why he spoke with his mother so often, but she was being overprotective and that was bothering him. He is a grown-up man, perfectly capable of taking care of them. But she was so obsessed with Melissa's illness that talk to her wasn't helping, just making him feel worse and lonelier. His friends would tell him to find a new girl all the time, to bring him some joy, but he promised himself that it would never happen again. It wasn't their fault. No one ever found out why he wasn't home that night, and it was going to remain as it is. But somehow, Melissa knew. Whenever the kids weren't around, she would use it against him. She never affirmed directly, but it was always, "I know what you were doing. Don't lie to me. You left me to have some fun once, you could do it twice," and other disturbing stuff. And Teddy believed that was the main reason Melissa didn't let him touch her anymore. That morning, Teddy received a message from Mother letting him know that she was on her way to visit him, for him not to worry about picking her up at the airport because she was going to call a cab, and for him to wait for her for dinner at 7 p.m. Melissa hated the news. She was aware of Teddy's conversations with his mother and her poor opinion about their marriage, so that day was being hard. Between crying and yelling, Melissa was locked inside their room and wouldn't open the door. Worst of the options, he was going to sleep on the sofa so his mother could have the guest room, no big deal. At least the kids were going to be happy about seeing their grandma. Polly arrived at 7:15 p.m. and Teddy was finishing preparing dinner. She came in by herself and hugged Teddy tightly. "Hi, honey. How are you doing? You weren't answering my calls, and I was so concerned," Polly said. "Oh, Mother, you are exaggerating. The dinner is almost done, I just have to set the table," Teddy said, and while walking to the base of the stairs he yelled, "Kids, Grandma Polly is here, come down and say hi." "Honey, why are you yelling?" Polly said sadly. "They just stay locked at the room all the time nowadays, so I just call them, and if they come on time, they will get food while it's still warm," Teddy answered while spreading the plates and silverware around the table. "Did you go to the doctor already, Teddy? As I asked you to do?" Polly said patiently. "No, Mom, it's too expensive, and with Melissa's treatment I can't afford," and before he could finish his sentence, Polly said sharply, "You need to stop. Please, go to the doctor to take care of you. Melissa is gone and there is nothing you can do for her anymore." "She is not gone, Mother. She can recover." "And don't say that in front of the children." He turned back to the stairs and yelled one more time, "Kids, come down to eat and say hi to your grandmother, now." Polly grabbed water for herself and calmly said, "Teddy darling, they are not coming down. No one of them will. They are all dead, remember?" Melissa put the children in the car and threw them against a tree to get revenge on you. Because you left her. That's what she wrote herself. Her fault, not yours. Teddy stared at his mother for a couple minutes in silence. Polly went to the kitchen, grabbed him some water, and went back. She waited patiently until he spoke to her again. "Mom, honestly, if you insist on saying she did on purpose, Melissa will never forgive you, and every time you visit, she will lock herself in the bedroom. Your relationship with her will never get better if you don't change this attitude," Teddy said, as if he could lecture his mother. "Okay, darling, I understand. Why don't you bring the kids to join us, at least?" Polly said kindly. "Good idea, Mom. I will be right back." And while Teddy went after her grandchildren, Polly texted the doctor he is still in the same situation. "I don't think he should live alone anymore, and, on my way, here Miss Elliott told me he started going to school in the morning again to drop off the kids. How do I proceed?" Teddy went back to the dining room, holding some objects that he put on the seats in a perfect line in front of Polly: an insulin syringe, a smartphone, and a teddy bear. Unexpectedly, he walked to the opposite side of the table and placed an engagement ring right next to Polly, saying, "Melissa is also joining us for dinner, right, baby? Let's just all be nice to Mommy and make her feel welcome, okay, kids?" And sitting in his chair, Teddy looked at his mom and whispered, "And you behave, Mom, please." Follow at Forrest the Storyteller on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok for more. Check out our website to read more tales: www.forestplumptales.com.